The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is in Henry, Illinois for another round of competition with the Limited Pro Stocks and Mini Rod tractors. The Limited Pros are off to an early and tight points race entering this fourth round. They have a massive field of 20-plus competitors running the season, and the top three in the class are separated by a mere 8 points. Meanwhile, the Mini Rod tractors have seen their top three dominated by one team. The father-son combination team of Bruce and Tyler Slaw have shown no mercy on the rest of the field, having claimed a win in every single round of this year. The sleds are hooked up. The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League starts now.
Truck and tractor pulling, the ultimate test of power. Professional pullers compete using custom-built vehicles with thousands of horsepower to see who can pull a multi-ton weighted sled the farthest. The sled is adjusted for each class to make the competition a fair test of power and the driver's skill. There's no practice in pulling. Every decision a team makes before each pull is critical to competing for a class championship. In a long season full of highs and lows, teams dedicate hundreds of hours to maintenance, travel, and repair. This is professional pulling with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.
We're in Henry, Illinois. It's a beautiful day to go truck and tractor pulling. Welcome to Marshall Putnam Fairgrounds for the Lucas Oil America's Pull, presented by General Tire. Ken Stout and Leslie Mears here to call the action for you. We're going to focus on a couple of different categories featuring the Mini Rod tractors, always a lot of fun, and the Limited Pro Stock tractors, kind of a little brother, if you will, of the big Pro Stockers. We'll kick things off with the Limited Pro Stock tractors.
Good to see Richard Warren out here from Scott City, Missouri. Most of our Limited Pro Stock tractors will be coming from the deep in the heart of the Midwest.
And the Cottonmouth, a great looking hot rod for sure. The International doing a nice job, sets the mark to beat at 310 and 65.
Well, if you think the tractor looks good, you should see this amazing old school International Scout that he has that matches the tractor exactly. Just an awesome machine. But we'll take a look at the run here. You can see he gets the front end up early, and there he goes, tapping that brake to bring it right back to the center of the track. Knows it's crucial that he has to stay in bounds so that he can get that good measurable distance to stay in the points hunt.
Here's a look at the pulling order we'll see this afternoon. Al Wright will be up next with the running red hot. Nick Gallitz, Drew Major, and Andrew Hartman will round out the top five here as we kick off this category.
When this category actually runs on the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League Silver Series, it's one of the regional series running throughout the United States. I believe it's one of 11 running with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. So still some amazing vehicles in this class.
Yeah, and it's a big class as we take a look at the running red hot, driven by Al Wright. Much more cost-effective than trying to put together a $300,000 to $350,000 Pro Stock tractor.
When these things are still making some power and heat, too.
Boy, just love the old-school sheet metal. Another good-looking International 294 and 34 will be a good bit short of what we saw the Cottonmouth go.
And if you are remembering the name of Al Wright and running it red hot or running in the red, which is the two tractors out of the Gallitz camp up there, that's because they won a Super Farm championship not too long ago. These guys, very, very similar to the Super Farms. In fact, they just have a bigger turbocharger than the Super Farms have on them. The Super Farms 3.0 charger, these guys have a 4.1-inch charger.
The season spans a total of 9 hooks, but 4 of them are complete. And after those 4 completed coming into this event, it's Drew Major who has the points lead.
And there have been 28 tractors that have made an appearance on the Silver Series in this category. So it is a wide, vast field, and you can see Wagler, McDonald, and Major just really holding it down at the top.
Yeah, and really the point that you're making there is that can all change in the span of one hook when there's so many tractors in one category. Boy, you can go from hero to zero really quickly. All right, you just spoke of Nick Gallitz running in the red, and here's a look at him. I'm sure Al Wright told him at least what he thought his best suggestion was to do, and it did pay off. 300.50, not near enough to get up there and take over the lead, but a good bit better than the running red hot. This track, no doubt, is tricky. It's warm out here. It's a bit sandy, so everybody's scratching their head to try and catch our leader. Speaking of the leader, as the bullheaded binder pulls up, Leslie had a chance to speak with our points leader earlier today.
In only his third season in the limited pro stock class, Drew Major making it happen here with 2 big wins leading the points. What's been the big key difference for you this year to make it happen?
Seat time, experience on the tractor. We have a new set of tires on it this year, just trying to really get it figured out. But main thing is just seat time and getting experience behind the wheel.
Now, you and your team really talk about the tires and the difference that they make. Talk about the difference. Is it a different tread cut? Is it a different, plya tire? What are some of the things that you changed?
We've changed our tread cut. We went to a little more aggressive cut, raised the bar on the tires so they're a little more aggressive, and just really playing with the air pressure and getting very aggressive with our setup.
I can't believe you got him to give away some secrets like that.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just got to hit them right at the right moment, and they'll tell me everything.
Oh, and Drew Major just misses the lead. 3:10 and 49 to Richard Warren's 3:10 and 65. Oh, so close.
And it was a good-looking run for him. As you can see, just maybe a little tad heavy on the nose. These guys want the front end to get up about 8 to 12, maybe 16 inches off the ground. And you can see it was that credit card swipe underneath off the starting line there, just a mere 1 or 2 inches off the line. And, so hard to do. These guys weigh 9,500 pounds. It looks like he's got about 1,000 pounds of weight on the front, which was just a little too much.
About 1.5 inches between first and second, and so it goes.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. General Tire, anywhere is possible. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
And welcome back to Henry, Illinois for the Lucas Oil America's Full, presented by General Tire. We're at Marshall Putnam Fairgrounds. We missed this hook here a year ago in 2015 due to Mother Nature. She washed it out. Last time we were here in 2014, and it's good to be back and putting on a show here for the fans. This is Pulling Country for sure. We're taking a look at the International Addiction, driven by Andrew Hartman. Well, the tractor started to wander off to the left a bit there, and he was able to get it back. The distance, 3:07 and 81.
Of course, Andrew Hartman, a second-generation puller. His dad, Quentin Hartman, a longtime puller.
And once again, Leslie was busy earlier today as she had a chance to speak with Tony McDonald, driver of the Well Spent.
Well, consistency is the key in any class out here with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. And Tony McDonald, so consistent, not even just this season as you sit second in the points, but really year to year. What are some of the things that you're doing to help keep yourself consistent?
We pay close attention to the tractor from pull to pull. We pay a lot of attention to the track and what other pullers are doing and try to maintain our edge.
Well, and maintaining that edge is going to be a little bit different for you guys today as you're pulling with a lot of sun out, which is a totally different circumstance than what you're used to. What are some key things that you're looking at with the track today with that?
Just look at how the track's coming back together, how bitey it's going to be. We'll probably take some weight off the front, shift up a gear, and hopefully we get them.
A little less information there, Leslie. He's keeping that a little closer to the cuff, but a solid player as we take a look at that case. Doing well in the points this year, and he's going to come in with a distance of 3:16 and 11. We have a brand new leader by a bunch.
Well, this is what I'm talking about his consistency so far this year. Not a very good hook to kick off the season in Mound City, Missouri. And then he comes back with a fourth, a third, and another third-place finish just one night ago in Jerseyville. And so he's gaining ground here. He's backing up those pulls, and he's staying consistent. And as we all know, our pullers all talk about that. And just staying in that top 5 is where you've got to be if you want to win those championships.
Yeah, I agree, and it's so difficult to do, especially in a field like this where there's so many competitors. We continue on here. Up next will be Dustin Ruth, coming out of Missouri with the 2 Ruthless. Why, Dustin Ruth also in that 3:10 area, but good enough to jump into second place as he just edges out both Major and Warren.
And these guys are really having an R&D year here with the 2 Ruthless machine, just really struggling to get it where it needs to be. And, you know, Dustin, also our second-generation puller in this category. He's just 21 years old. But how about this? He's been driving tractors competitively since he's been 13, so 8 years driving experience under his belt.
Yeah, that's a lot of seat time for sure, and you really need that experience, as we talked about before. You want to have the notes, but you also want to have that experience, the ability to read the dirt when you come out here. Horseshoes and hand grenades, you got to love that one, but they call these races or these efforts, these pulls, just a little bit closer than that. Doing the driving is Steve Hood. All right, it pulls that International down underneath the turbo, and he puts 3:02 and 60 on the board.
Yeah, you could tell once that heavy box topped off on the sled, it was really lugging down that engine. You know, we talked about earlier, 9,500 pounds on these tractors. They're 640 cubic inch, but they're not intercooled, so they're not getting that nice cool air in the engine to make more power.
All right, we're in the thick of it now with this category. Does anybody have anything for Tony McDonald? We'll find out when we come back. And welcome back to the Lucas Oil America's Pull, presented by General Tire. A packed house here to watch the limited Pro Stock tractors put on a show. Randy Stuckenschneider coming up next out of Martinsburg, Missouri. And the Aces 8s and IHs puts 3:05 and 20 on the board.
Everybody's starting to fall into that 3:05 to 3:10 range, which shows you just how competitive all these guys are. I think it's neat on the Aces 8s and IH. He actually had covers over his weights, so you can't count them like I do out here to kind of see what's going on. Many pullers in the pits doing that as they're getting ready to run.
Well, here's something a little different. We've not seen too many green tractors inside of this category, but Christopher Couch is going to represent right here on the tractor called Pickin' and Ginnin'. And represent he does. We have a brand new leader, 3:17 and 28. A beautiful job out of him by more than a foot.
When he picked up a second place finish at the hook one night ago in Jerseyville. And right off the line, he gets the front end up. And that's what you got to do to get that 9,500 pound transfer weight into those rear tires to get it hooked up. How about it though? He's got to stab the brake to bring it back to the middle there as it gets a little wild on him. loading and unloading those rear tires at the very end, so he could have extended it a little more.
Well, that'll keep the battle alive between the red tractors and the green tractors. And the fans know it all too well. Very knowledgeable fans up here in the grandstands as we continue on. This one would typically be red as well. The case driven by Steve Keir. Once again, coming out of Missouri, it's called the Midnight Screamer. And 306.86 will be the distance.
And a good distance, although he could never really get that balance there off the line. He really wanted to pick up the front end, but it kept loading and unloading those rear tires. And when we talk about that happening with those tires, when the front end comes back down, it takes a lot of power and a lot of the power away from pulling the sled to dig back into the track to keep it going forward. And so when it happens, you really lose your power bandwidth, you lose your ground speed going forward to really keep your momentum in the pull.
We'll continue on in this extremely large category, and up next will be Doug Ruth, the tractor called Ruthless Binder, and that's what they call the internationals. They call them corn binders for many, many years and still make reference to that.
When his son Dustin came out here with an early hook in this 2-tractor team, so we'll see if he gained any knowledge or information about this track.
And the Ruthless Binder comes in with a distance of 3:14 and 78. That's good enough to jump up on the box. Third place podium effort right there as it stands. Of course, a lot more to come yet, but that's a solid effort.
This is almost as if you're riding on board. Check out that nice, beautiful stream of big black diesel smoke coming out of that sewer pipe in the hood there. And you can see pretty steady on the front end as he rides it on out. And that's what you got to do. You got to stay steady, consistent, and straight throughout your run, keeping those tires hooked up if you want to play with the big boys at the top and make it on the podium.
Yeah, really nice job there. That is a good effort. It seemed like getting past that 3:10 mark almost impossible, but 3 players have managed to do so, and we still have a couple left in the category. So see if they can jump up in there as well. Pretty tight category here as we cover the limited pro stock tractors. The mini rods are in the back waiting to show up here and put on a show as well. Just a couple left here though in the limited pro stock category at the Lucas Oil Americas poll presented by General Tire. This is the Black Mamba. Love the tractor all in black there. Bryce Mosley goes 3:08 and 21.
And this is one of those pieces that you really need to see up close in the pits. It's got some beautiful purple details on it when you get really up close. And, not only are all of our tractors out here, fine-tuned, very, very expensive and intricate purpose-built machines for pulling, but they're also showpieces as well. Check out that big wheel stand there by Mosley right off the line, but unfortunately just couldn't keep it up the entire length of the run to get that displacement of weight to get the distance he needed.
And that'll get us to our final tractor in the category. Clayton Darlidge on the showtime. Work is cut out for him. He'll need to post some big numbers to get up on the podium here today. Finished 4th, just a couple of hooks to go. He definitely has a good machine, but he's going to miss it by a little bit here today. 3:09 and 44 for the showtime.
And kudos to our track officials and our crew out here maintaining the track, because you can see it stayed very consistent for all of our pullers from top to bottom as the distances are so close out here. Clayton Darlidge putting Showtime right in the groove, but did a little scoot to the side off that starting line, and that kind of set him off balance for the rest of his run and just couldn't really pull out of the throttle to lose those RPMs to get it to settle back in.
All right, let's go down to the podium. Crash Gladys is with second place.
Well, a 3:16 for Tony McDonald. It looks like the track came around for you guys. You guys kind of set the bar, and then everybody else was pretty solid after you as well.
Yeah, we had a real solid pass. That deer from Tennessee come at the end, and he got by us, but we had a real good hook. I'm real happy with the pass.
Is it true that the track kind of came around a little bit? They took a while to set up, and once it got going well, like with you, it was good.
Yeah, it might have come around a little bit, but it was pretty good for everybody, I think. So.
All right, well, go celebrate the second place.
Thank you very much.
And the distance is oh so close. I mean, that's what we're talking about in the field. You know, you've got your winners out there so close together within just a little bit over a foot of each other. And then everybody within 10 feet in the top 10. Just amazing what competitors we have in this class. A good night, though, for Doug Ruth. He ends up third, his best finish so far on this season.
Guys, as we've talked about, the end of the night has seemed to be pretty good for this class. How did it work for you, pulling out that 3:14?
Well, it helped for us. We had another tractor up front of us. Was able to kind of, reweight a little bit, and that kind of helped us get down the track a little further.
Yeah, it's not too shabby when you can watch what other guys are doing, change your weight, change your air pressure. But it was just the weights that you changed?
Yeah, we just changed weight, moved some weight back, kind of helped us kind of hook up a little better.
And here's a look at the points at the conclusion of this hook. Tony McDonald now with a well-spent tractor will jump up into the points lead. And that's what we were talking about, how quickly things can change. Drew Major and Justin Wagler also tied up there for second. And Al Wright and Quentin Hartman with the International Addiction round out your top five. Let's go back down to the podium and talk to our winner.
Guys, it's the win for Pickin and Ginnin, and the only one in the 3:17 range. How was that?
Well, we was a later hook tonight, and we watched many of them try the middle of the track and a few on the left, and we seen the left being somewhat consistent, and so we kind of split the difference, and it paid off. I got my track crew behind me. They set everything up, and we made it work.
So that'll wrap things up for the very large limited pro stock tractor category, but we are far from done. It's going to get crazy here in just a minute, courtesy of the Mini Rod Tractors. When too much on too little is just right.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by E3 Spark Plugs, born to burn. General Tire, anywhere is possible. And by Rhino Ag, born to lead.
We welcome you back here to the Lucas Oil America's Pull, presented by General Tire. We're at Marshall Putnam Fairgrounds in Henry, Illinois. The limited pro stock tractors are done. Up next will be the Mini Rod Tractors. If you haven't seen these things, they are awesome, man. Talk about crazy. And Drake Griffith with the overdraft goes 3:06 and 29. A really good effort there. You can see how quickly it has the potential of getting out of shape. Short wheelbase, relatively narrow, a ton of power, but that was a really nice and smooth effort here in this class.
And we've got a pretty deep field here to compete on the Lucas Oil Silver Series here. As you can see, Ross Hurst second in Boot Scootin' Boogie. Bart Vandersloot making his American debut on the Bobcat Jr. Grayson Shelton in Splinter, the new vehicle there from the Shelton camp. And then we're going to round things off at the end of the night with Jerry Thompson in Hellraiser.
Here comes Ross Hurst on the Boot Scootin' Boogie out of Bridgewater, Iowa. We'll have the Slaw family come up here in a little bit. They have dominated this category so far this year. Boy, and when you see those tractors vibrating like that, I promise you that's going right up through the driver and exactly what he's feeling and seeing. Ross Hurt, 288 and 78.
He can never really get it to settle down and settle into the track there. And these guys have the same engines that we see on our super modified two-wheel drive trucks and you see on alcohol dragsters. That's a 1471 supercharger out there. They can't exceed 575 cubic inches. So they're making about 2,000 to 2,500 horsepower. When you can't connect it to the ground the way that you want to, that's what's going to make it shake and vibrate back there. Of course, they do have that open rear end with each tire hooking up independently and spinning independently back there, but it shouldn't shake off the line like that.
Incredible to say the least when you talk about that horsepower on something that looks like it's just a bit bigger than your average lawnmower. They are a handful. All right, a little bit earlier, Crash had a chance to speak to Bart Vandersloot.
Guys, Bart Vandersloot has been working on mini rods for more than 10 years now, but today is his first time ever in the driver's seat. And right before these guys got on the start line, they got a call from their team in Europe. They got to first place today and told the guys specifically, pressure's on for you guys in America. So, hey, Bart, first time in the driver's seat, they're expecting a win.
Wow, and take a look at the numbers here. Might be his first time behind the wheel driving, but I bet you it's not his last. 332 and 69. That is a huge number. Keep in mind, you were talking about horsepower numbers, 2,000 to 2,500. I would put this one at the 2,500 mark based solely on taking a look at the technology of that supercharger. That thing is set back. That's the latest in blower technology. The bug catcher up in the front, and it produced some big horsepower, and boy, did he drive it well.
And this is a proven machine. We've seen Bill Leichner pilot this particular machine at a couple of different hooks so far just this year. So this guy has really got a settled-in machine with some good horsepower. Let's check in on the starting line with John Mears.
Well, guys, we've grown so accustomed to so many classes having a floating finish, so why set the line at 320 for the mini rods?
I tell you what, we've had these mini rods all summer long. They're putting on a heck of a show, and I think it's right. The Bobcat Junior tractor made a 332 pass. Slaws have been really, really strong all year. I look to see maybe one or two of their tractors out, and maybe another wild card to get out the gate.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the Slaws will definitely be the mark, and they're running, or pulling, I should say, a little bit later on in the class here. Up next will be Dennis Horst on the Red Fox.
A veteran puller from Ohio. He actually lives about 5 miles from the Bargee camp.
Boy, and that thing chugging right to the very end. Never stopped rotating those huge back tires and comes in with a distance of 317 and 68 for a strong second place now.
And boy, the track is really seated in from our limited pro stocks. A good shot of the driver in the cockpit, of course, right hand on the throttle. The width of this vehicle cannot exceed 6 feet. So it's really, really tight quarters in the roll cage, and it's not very wide at all. It's just phenomenal how small these machines are, yet they are so, so mighty.
They are awesome looking. They're one of my favorite out here on the tour for sure, man. They are just nothing but grunt. Pretty cool stuff. Well, there's a second generation puller, Grayson Shelton, who also competes in the super modified two-wheel drive category, and Leslie had a chance to speak with him and his brother about why a mini rod.
Last year on the way back from Wheatland, Missouri, actually, me and Dad and Reese were all sitting up front, sad that pulling season was over, but we was ready for a little bit of rest, get back and go hunting a little bit, go to the lake, do whatever they call it. But we started talking about getting a mini rod, and looking on the internet and whatnot, and found that Max Smith out of Iowa had this good piece for sale, and it was proven. And we did a little talking to him, searched around a little bit, and ended up purchasing it about midwinter or something like that. And got it home and whatnot, and Brian Knox did all the motor work for us. It's really a good piece. We've really had a lot of fun with it so far.
Younger brother Reese standing there. They will share driving duties on the machine called Splinter, both coming out of the super modified two-wheel drive category where their father was a champion. how about 3:17.87 goes past Dennis Horst for second place by less than 1 inch.
And just an awesome hook for this team. And, you know, they've had a few growing pains with this. You know, this vehicle is so small that you actually have to sit in the seat when you measure the drawbar or it'll change the height of it. So they forgot about that one event. You know, another event, they forgot, you know, about, you know, adding some extra weight here. But here, getting it just right in the seat. Grayson does a really good job driving it. He also said that everything happens so much faster than it happens in the two-wheel drive truck that you really have to be on your A game with it, that you can't really sit back and think about it. You've just got to react.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree with that anymore. This short wheelbase, man, it'll throw you a curveball really quickly. Well, here comes our points leader, Bruce Slaw. As we talked about, Bruce and Tyler have shown no mercy on this entire field as they've won every event so far this year between the two tractors. Well, if they're going to win this one, they're going to have to count on the other tractor driven by Tyler called Have No Mercy, because Bruce is going to miss it here by a little bit. 3:03.79, and it should be said that both tractors, even if they don't win it, have still made the podium, and I don't know that he's going to do that here either.
And it seems like he has a really hard time getting started. As you watch those butterflies, he waits a long time to open it up, and that's very uncharacteristic for Bruce out here. You know, he usually is hammering on it right away because you know you have to get those tires dug into the track and get that sled moving. Also, check out how far forward his roll cage is moved. We'll talk to Tyler in a little bit more about that, but that's because these guys are so light. 2,050 pounds is all they weigh, and you've got to get that weight forward out on the nose.
So Bruce currently falls into the 5th slot. Now Tyler coming up, and earlier today, Leslie had a chance to speak to him.
They all sit further forward than any of the other ones. My dad's primarily sits further forward than any other tractor here, that's for sure, with his legs actually around side of the motor. And I sit further forward, but I got my legs tucked up closer to my chest, and the other one is more traditional where you sit further back. So it's definitely a different setup on all of them, but we can still kind of collect data off of them and learn a little bit as each one goes down the track.
What was your motivation behind making all of them different? Because usually we hear about multi-vehicle teams trying to build them as identical as possible.
Well, as many people will tell you with multi-vehicle teams is no matter how hard you try, it seems like they're always different, unfortunately. So just trying to keep more weight forward on the front so that we can put that horsepower to the ground. It sucks working all winter finding horsepower on the dyno and not being able to put it to the ground. But with that seat further forward, we can get the front end down, run that hitch all the way up as high as we can, and put that horsepower to work.
And we talked about the hitch being all the way up. It's only a 13-inch hitch, so it's not really that high at all.
And boy, he wasted no time at all going right to the mat with that one. Tyler Slaw, good enough to jump up into second place at 3:20.28.
And boy, he just makes it past that full pull mark by a little over 3 inches. But hey, this is a case where it doesn't matter as long as you break the 320 barrier. Check this out though, the front end lifts. Check out that amazing torque from the engine as it's tying that power into the ground just the entire way lifted, and he really got after the throttle early to make that happen.
So we will have a pull-off here in the mini rod category as Tyler climbs off of his machine. Everybody enjoying some good, fair food out here as they watch the best in truck and tractor pulling. We're covering the mini rod tractors. These things are a handful to say the least. We're at the Lucas Oil America's Pull, presented by General Tire. Deep into this class now, Expect No Mercy is the third machine out of the Slaw camp. And Leslie spoke with Bruce earlier today.
We did a lot of work on the off-season on these things, Tyler and myself. Vehicles are set up different. Basically, all three of them are running the same motor combinations. So, I mean, and that's a lot of it in the tuning aspect. So we got that one thing going for us on that.
Well, and talk about tires. We talk about tires in all classes, but in your class, it's so especially important. You know, talk about the softness and how often you have to maintenance them.
I'm going to say this past week when we got done running, we probably, in between me and Tyler, I'm going to say we got at least 15 hours on just the tires on the 3 tractors. And that's one thing that's set up a little bit different. All 3 of them got a little bit of a different tire cut on them, and we run a different gear ratio to make up for that. And so far it seems to be working.
So that's 5 hours of tire maintenance per vehicle, and they sharpen those tires every 2 to 3 passes.
One of the 3 different machines that they have out here. Bruce originally went 303 and 79, then Tyler 320 and 28, and then of course this one 295 and 60 on the Expect No Mercy. So they'll have to take a good look at the setup that they have on Tyler's machine when they come back here next year.
And this great looking machine comes out of Thornville, Ohio. This is Richard Peters with the Buckeye Special. Over 30 years of pulling experience under his belt, and he's still making it happen here with the mini rod.
What an awesome looking machine. And the Buckeye Special goes 307 and 25. Not quite enough to get out there into that pull-off. You've got to surpass that 320 mark.
And it looks like he had some engine issues out there, maybe cylinder down out there during that run. As you can see, a little bit of extra fuel and heat coming out of the right bank of the engine. Opens it up nice. How about that huge wheel stand that he's carrying? But it's almost like he just runs out of steam towards the end of that run.
Yeah, I wonder if the front end was just up too high and the angle on that to plant those rear tires was just a little too aggressive. All right, we continue on here in the category. We're getting down to it. Just a couple left to go here. In fact, 1 left. The final hook of the category is Jerry Thompson, and the machine's called Hellraiser. Oh, and there goes the blower belt right at the very end, but he had already clicked it off. I don't think it affected his effort at all. 306 and 48.
And this is a case where that extra weight on the front end would help him by moving that roll cage forward just a little bit. These vehicles are very, very short as well. They can't exceed 8 feet from the center of the rear axle forward. That's why so many guys try to move the roll cage as far forward as they possibly can to put the extra weight on the nose out there. And you can see just getting up on those wheelie bars. Looks amazing out there, but got to be crazy for the driver as he's looking at the sky.
Yeah, I mean, unloading and loading those rear tires, and that's probably what kicked that blower belt off, probably completely unloading that thing and buzzing the motor just a little bit. Let's take a look at our results. Of course, the top 2 are going to battle it out for the win here in just a moment. Art Vandersloot doing a great job. Tyler Slaw trying to keep that perfect record alive for the Slaw camp. And Grayson Shelton will round out your podium. Dennis Horst in there as well. As we take a look at the rest of the competitors, these guys will load things up, man. When they come back, it will be for all the glory. Whoever can drag that sled the farthest will be the winner here at Henry. Stay with us. We'll settle this thing when we come back.
The Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Lucas Oil, made in America, sold to the world. Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. And by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Just 2 tractors yet to go, and we'll decide a winner in the mini rod tractor category here at the Lucas Oil America's Pool, presented by General Tire. The fans waiting anxiously. And this tractor definitely set a huge number out here in the first effort. Bart Vandersloot on the Bobcat Jr. came out here, put 3:32 and 69 on the board. his first time behind the wheel. Boy, and he proves that was no fluke. How about a little bit further? 3:36 and 59. What an incredible effort.
And just phenomenal to see him come out of the hole and really wait and really work that throttle and wait for the machine to hook up to the track. You know, a guy in basically his second pass ever down the track to have that much cognition on the starting line to wait that long. Look at him checking out the sideline. He was checking out his distance as soon as he saw that full pull marker come into view.
I mean, that is driving like an absolute veteran. Of course, as Crash mentioned, he's been around this for many, many years and watched what the pros do. But to get in there and just have it fall into place like that, that's an absolute natural.
And of course, you saw Bill Leischner giving him some congratulations down there as Leischner teams up with the Bobcat team whenever they come to the United States.
Tyler backing up to hook up to the sled and try and keep this perfect record alive for the Slaw Camp here this season. Crash, you have more.
Guys, there's just not enough time for Tyler Slaw and the gang to make any changes to their mini rod, so all they did was refuel it. Now, they are going to line up on the left side of the track, however, because they feel like conditions over there have gotten a lot better since the sun has started to go down.
And there's a great perspective of where he is sitting and how far forward he is with that clutch can right between his ankles. And I think he had to squeeze on that right brake just a little bit to bring that thing back around. 3:17.05 will be good enough to finish second here today.
And a good run, but you can see not the start he's looking for. It takes a long time for the tractor to finally settle in. There, it takes a set, it's hooking up good to the ground, and that rough, rocky start is probably what detracted from his distance the most.
Still a solid effort and a great year working for our points leader. So that'll wrap things up here with the Mini Rod Tractors. Let's get it down to the podium and talk to third place, Grayson Shelton.
Grayson Shelton just 3 feet off of that pull-off line. Is there anything that you're kind of thinking back now you should have tweaked?
Yeah, we're having trouble with it going straight. We feel like if it would have went straight, I was on the brake pretty hard from about 150 feet to the end. We feel like if it would have went straight, we probably could have got that 3 feet, been in the pull-off. Don't know if we could have had anything for that Bobcat team. Them guys are strong. Congrats to the Netherlands boys. It's awesome to see them win. We're just happy to be out here on the podium.
And in their first year, a podium is so good for them this early in the season. As you see, he does finish third. Second for Tyler Slaw as he keeps up that phenomenal run that they have going here on the Silver Series, trying to keep those 3 vehicles in the top 3 spots.
Well, guys, it was going to be pretty tough to beat Bobcat Jr. today, but you guys were the next best thing. It was really good for the pull-off. And were you happy with your setup, the way things went down for that pull-off?
Definitely happy with the way we came to the track with it set up. In hindsight, there's some changes we could have made to be a little bit more competitive. But hey, man, we're happy. We came into this Lucas Oil Pro Pulling event having won between the team, Dad and I, every single event so far. So to finally have to settle for a second with our best finishing tractor, I mean, we're going to take that. Come on, we're still excited.
Yeah, well said, man. They have had an incredible season. As we take a look at the points, Bruce still up top. Tyler in second by just 6. Keith Horst, Bruce Slaw again in fourth, and then Richard Peters rounds out your top 5. Okay, let's send it back down to the podium and talk to our winner.
So how about this? The day starts off with pressure's on, we won overseas, now it's your turn, and then you get a pep talk from the man himself, Bill Leischner. It all worked. You made it look so easy.
Yeah, it looks like it's easy, but it's a bit difficult in a good way. So we have been busy the last few days to get it ready, and Bill does the most of it, and it's a fun thing to drive. So we just love to do what we do, and it's fun to be over here and be with this crew. It's awesome, and then make a pass like that for the first time. It's real crazy.
spoken well by the man from the Netherlands. Congratulations to that entire team. Boy, did they do a great job. Hope you enjoyed all the great pulling action. Remember, you can keep up with all the information at propulling.com. Hit us up on social media. We'd love to hear from you. Let's interact. For Crash Gladys and Leslie Mears, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League.